So pretty. Cute little babies. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So, there's been a trend of these stupid, ugly, overpriced Labubu dolls being sold everywhere. They're a status symbol now. People have them think they're something to flex how much cash you got and whatnot. And this reminded me of my childhood, where my grandma, who is a collector, but she has a bit of a hoarding tendency, wasted precious money that we shouldn't have been spending on Cabbage Patch Kid dolls, My Child dolls, Furbies, Beanie Babies, the Thai Beanie Babies to be specific, and Bratz dolls and other items that she thought she could resell for a higher price if she kept them in mint condition. Okay? Now, we needed that money. We didn't eat very well. We didn't have very nice clothes. And she could have used that money for us kids at the time, but she decided to not be responsible and to invest in these stupid toys. And they were all the craze. It was trendy, just like the Labubu doll, and she thought that would be a good way to give an inheritance to her kids. And I've seen plenty of memes where other people's family members did this as well. I shared one on my blog before. It has Michael Scott from The Office holding up a Beanie Baby doll and saying, this is your inheritance. And when I first came across that, it struck me very deeply, because it showed that my family wasn't the only one who was brainwashed into wasting money on overpriced toys, essentially, that won't appreciate, they depreciate in value, they won't appreciate in value, they're not going to go up. And I'm sure that there's antique roadshows and different types of pawn shops who pretend you'll find a holographic Charizard card, Pokemon card, and it's going to be worth this much, and payday, blah, blah, blah. Maybe there's a couple here and there, rarely, that fetch a high price. But if you're struggling with money, you shouldn't be wasting it on a doll to fake it till you make it. And if you have money, I'd argue that you really should put it to good use. It's insane how many stories I've kept track over time of this stupid ugly doll, and how businesses will put one in their window, hotels will have one on the counter, not where someone can grab it and run away, but in the back. That has become a sort of phenomenon, like the Thai Beanie Babies and whatnot. And I think it's important to just share my perspective growing up, because in my grandma's house, in my mom's old room, she had filled the entire room with Cabbage Patch Kid dolls. In the room I slept was with her. On the wall, there's a perch, a window sill, but there's no window. A piece of the wall comes forward so you can stack stuff. There's 4 rows, and then it goes all the way across the room. And my grandma was obsessed, okay? She filled closets with Furbies. In the computer room, on the wall, was just tons of Barbies and Barbie shoes, and none of us could play with it. We just had to look at it because she wanted to sell it. And she thinks when she dies, we're going to have the time and energy to want to pay to put some Barbie shoes up on eBay and a doll up on Etsy, and that we'll have time to drive around and see if a vintage shop wants to relieve us of the collection. It's quite selfish to make someone have an inheritance of toys that we then we have to go and put some effort into that we don't really have the time for. And you never know where we'll be at in our lives, and how are we supposed to divide up, us grandchildren and great-grandchildren, a bunch of damn toys. But she was really gullible, very naive, didn't know how to make proper financial decisions. and decided that it was a good idea to spend money on this. And my grandpa as well was weak in not controlling my grandma's spending habits. She was a stay-at-home woman. She never had a job. And he really just let her spend and spend and spend. And this was quite ridiculous. Because I had to get a job young and buy my own clothes. And it's just pretty depraved when I look back about what she should have been spending the money on. Most importantly, it should have been food. We didn't eat very good, but she had plenty of stupid dolls to have, and not very many people came over, but I do know that in her head she must have felt like, look, this is a status symbol, right? So there's also some memes where Karl Marx has a Labubu by his grave. Karl Marx and this Labubu doll, because it shows the rot of capitalism and consumerism, and how a corporation and marketing and bots can make a stupid doll popular, overpriced. Some people will fight over it. They'll spend a lot for it. It's quite ridiculous. And how nonsensical us humans can be, while literal people starve to death, while people can't afford their healthcare bills, while students need shoes for school. Like, there's so many people in poverty in the world, and instead, first worlders are fighting tooth and nail to get an ugly doll, and repeating the toy trends that plague American society and, first world nations in general. So if you see this doll, resist the urge to waste money on it, I'd argue. It's your money, you can do what you want. But remember, on Judgment Day, we will be held accountable for what we spent on. And if you want to buy a toy for a kid, get a handmade, crocheted stuffy from Etsy to give to a kid in need, a little girl. Get a nice soccer ball for a kid. There's so many ways where you can support toy companies or handmade items and make a kid's day. If you're an adult and you're wasting money on a toy, this is just poor decision making. It's like when men spend a lot on action figures of superheroes, and then they have it in the background of their videos, like Jeremy, the quartering Jeremy. It's ridiculous that people would spend money on that. And I know that there'll be an argument, oh, someone has a holographic Charizard Pokemon card, it's gonna be worth so much, okay. But then all the other cards now, you see them at gas stations, they're not worth anything. And Digimon was supposed to be another popular card collection, it's now really worth nothing. So the value of these useless items goes down, and they usually don't go up. Regardless of how many Antiques Roadshow stuff you watch, or something niche where someone said, oh, if you have one of these, you're gonna be a millionaire. No. And just remember to use your money wisely and to put it to work. And if you're getting status from paying for a toy, I think you need to find better ways to get validation, to boost your self-esteem, and you are too easily led. You're way too easily led if you are dropping that kind of cash on a stupid doll, and they're all going to end up in landfills just like every other toy. I mean, for a long time, Barbie was a huge fad. Now, not really. Furbies. I mean, it's the Toy Story toys, Buzz Lightyear, Woody, Mickey Mouse dolls, Hello Kitty, Clifford the Big Red Dog, Arthur. I mean, it's quite wild. SpongeBob. It's quite intense how many things go up and down, up and down, up and down, and we have this sort of cultural amnesia around it, where we think, well, this one's actually going to retain value, and in a few years people are going to remember, how much it costs and whatnot. In this economy, you should be really penny pinching as if we're in the Great Depression, right? You should really be holding on to that cash. So, just my 2 cents on the Labubu phase, I mean, not phrase, phase. Spend your money on better things. Some kids need diapers, plant a tree, help someone sell their goats. There's people in Yemen, Somalia, Ethiopia, young little kids in Iran, Iraq, Chicago, Philly, Oakland, you name it, who they need some help. And people are getting robbed over the damn doll. It's just ridiculous. So don't be a part of that American phenomenon where you're dropping cash on toys. For some reason, Americans love being adults and then buying toys. It's this very weird Disney brain rot where you're like living your childhood forever instead of just growing up. Let me know what you think. Please like, comment, subscribe, join the blog. Beautiful, mashallah.